the Illini and welcomes back 9 letter winners and 2 starters from last year's squad that won 23 games and advanced to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement and then take questions.
Thank you. Good morning. Did you say 9 letter winners?
Yes, sir.
We've got 9 fresh faces. So we've got a new team with 5 returning players. Good thing it was on TV today, right? Very excited to work with them. It is a completely different team than last year. It's got its challenges, but it's been a lot of fun. We've gotten a lot better since the 27th when we started. I thought the ability to work with them in the summer also helped with the new access model that started last summer. And so not this past summer, but the previous. I thought that helped us in terms of the transition. And, you know, guys are competing hard. We're pretty inconsistent right now, which is normal, but we're going to get there. You know, I like our guys, and you know, they're up for challenges, and we're anxious to start competing.
Thanks, Coach. Let's open it up for questions. Let's go middle left.
Shannon Ryan, Chicago Tribune. I know Joe Bertrand's a guy who's kind of always right there. And what kind of step do you foresee him taking this year?
No, that's a great question, Shannon, and we need him to take another step, and more with his vocal leadership. And he knows that. We'll probably allude to that as he's interviewed. He's here today with us. Great kid, has meant a lot to our program, has been great for our young guys from the standpoint of setting an example of how hard we work and how we do things in the off season and how we practice and how he treats his body. And, you know, Joe's a pro's pro with that stuff. We'd just like to see him take another step with the vocal leadership part. And obviously from a production standpoint, Shannon, we need him to take a step there as well. You know, there'll be more responsibility this year for him in both rebounding, you know, scoring for us, being efficient in a lot of statistical areas. But again, more vocal leadership than anything.
Front right.
Joseph George, Columbia Chronicle. What are your expectations for your 2 freshmen from Simeon Kendrick and Jalen Tate this year?
Well, my expectation is simple for those guys. I've really just talked to them about getting better every day, get a little bit better every day. You know, fortunately for both of them, they were well coached. They are very competitive kids. They're used to playing with and against some of the best players in the country. So neither one of them backed down from anything, which I love. That's a great starting point. But they're still figuring things out, you know, in terms of our system and how we want to do things offensively and defensively. And they are a lot further along than when they started, but they've got to continue to get better.
Front left.
Brian Snow, the Arena Sports Network, good morning. Do you see yourself running more of an up-tempo style offensively with the freshmen that you brought in with Kendrick Nunn and Jalen Tate, or do you want to try to copy what you did last year?
Well, I thought last year we played fast to a degree. I'd like to play faster. I think it's a great question. You know, to do that, I've always said, and we were able to do it kind of my last year at Ohio where we had 9 or 10 guys we were playing. I think that's ideal. You know, are we at that point now where we have 9 or 10 ready to do that? You know, players play players. They've got to earn that. In a perfect world, have we recruited and built ourselves more for speed? Yes, we have. So I think we're headed in that direction. Will we get to the top of that tempo, so to speak, this year? That remains to be seen.
Front left again.
John, Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. You have talked about high plans and building, just doing it the right way. How important is it for you to reach your goals at Illinois to shut down Chicago to other schools coming in and pilfering recruits?
Well, we've never used the phrase shut down Chicago. Chicago is a really, really important city for us because it's in our state. You know, we have a great state. You know, California and New York, I believe, are the only 2 states that have turned out more professional basketball players than the state of Illinois. So we've always been very talent-rich. It's one of the things that makes Illinois a great job, that our state is so strong, and we want to do a great job in our state. Chicago being very, very important, as well as the other cities and towns in our state. You know, we take pride in the basketball in the state of Illinois.
Let's go back left.
Yeah, Rick Brown, Des Moines Register. Can you talk about how Ravonte Rice has fit into your system? I know he had a year to get acclimated, but how he's playing?
Sure. I love talking about Ray because of the type of year that he had sitting out, maybe the best since I've been coaching with in terms of a transfer and a sit-out year. You know, from the amount of weight he lost to the body fat decreasing to how much of a better shooter he's become to his GPA, to his approach mentally. You know, he's come a long way in a year and really improved big time in a lot of areas. So we're very, very excited. Having said that, you know, he had some jitters a little bit. I think he'd be the first to tell you when we had our first exhibition game. It'd been the first time he'd been out there in a while. And, you know, he's anxious to put on that orange and blue jersey. You know, the other thing about Ray that I love is, you know, Champaign native, and he's been watching Illinois basketball since he was little, and it really means something to him to put on that jersey and play for his state school. So we're excited to have Ray and have big hopes for him this season.
Any additional questions for Coach?
We have one in the back
right
there, Jeremy.
Jeremy Warner, ESPN Radio in Champaign. John, I don't know if I've asked you this, but product of Thad Matta, you learned a lot from some of these coaches along the way. What did you really learn from him in your days at Ohio State about recruiting in the Big Ten and coaching in the Big Ten?
Well, I've said, you know, obviously wouldn't have had the opportunity to be at such a great place like Illinois without him and several others, but he's meant a lot, you know, to my career, has really helped my family, you know, so, you know, I'm forever grateful for that. And, you know, learned a lot of different things from him, both on and off the court when it comes to the profession. So, you know, for me, you know, it's interesting. You know, I obviously see him frequently because we're in the same league, and my son asked me the other day if we're still friends. I said, yeah, Connor, we are. But then obviously we're competitive too, and he's a competitor. And when, you know, you play one another, you know, 1, 2, 3 times a year, Jeremy, I mean, when the ball gets thrown up, then at that point, you know, it becomes business.
It's middle right.
Hi, Coach. Vinny Zuber with CSNChicago.com. Can you just talk about some of the challenges that you personally and your staff have faced getting used to all these new players coming in this year?
Sure. Well, I think just getting to know them, obviously that takes time. You know, I wish there was a formula where you could speedball it, and it takes time. I'm not real, you know, coaches aren't the most patient guys in the world. So I've tried to be, you know, aggressively patient with that approach and put them in situations where they have to deal with adversity. I think one of the things that helped us for sure is we did an exercise this summer and this fall with SEAL team physical training. I thought that helped bring us all closer together. Staff participated as well. So, you know, things like that, putting them in situations where they have to rely on one another has allowed us to get to know them better, but we still need to get to know them even better. You know, we did through the recruiting process with most of them, and then through the fall and even this past summer, and here as the season started. But, you know, that's an ever-evolving curve, if you will. You know, we're continuing to do that on a daily basis.
Time for a few more questions. Shannon, on the left.
Yeah, I'm just curious, you talk about kind of grading players on how they do in practices and scrimmages, and how close are you to deciding the rotation and who you want where?
Well, we're getting closer for sure, you know, and I'd like to get to that earlier this year, Shannon. I think we can because, you know, again, as I mentioned earlier, we had the summer, we had the fall starting on September 15th, which we could work with our group in its entirety. And now we started practice on September the 27th, which is earlier than normal. So because of that, we've had more evaluation time, if you will. So we've been able to define roles. We've already done that earlier than we usually would with such a young team, as normally we'd be trying to figure it out. And I think we're getting closer to a rotation as well. Not completely set, but closer.
Time for one more question. All right. Thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.